those who served in Afghanistan, Iraq, do you want everything you thought you knew about war? Stop thinking that.
We have very cool guys, really cool soldiers, fighters from almost every country. They called me and told hey Vlad, we're going to come and help you. And I was like, why? Nobody had this type of experience. Nobody had understanding how to work with different people from different countries, how to combine them together.
Hello, I'm Jenny Klochko, and you are watching my podcast, the platform for guest stories beyond your daily newsfeed. Today we talk about the International Legion, the lovely idea, honorable mission to protect Ukraine, its freedom, its independence, but how it works, with its discoveries, challenges, and risks. My guest today is Volodymyr. His call sign is Vlad. He's the representative of International Legion with the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine. Hello, Volodymyr. How are you today?
Good evening. Thank you very much for this possibility to take part in your beautiful show.
Yeah. I'm very happy to have you. Volodymyr, let's tell viewers a little bit about yourself. Today you are in role as a representative of International Legion, but war, it's something you know from the first-hand experience, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, our unit is a special activity unit, so it's combat unit, and the most our activities are about war. So we don't provide logistics support. We are doing actually jobs. So yes, I represent a unit that knows a lot about this war.
And yourself, are you long time with the armed forces?
So I joined second time. I joined our organization before large scale invasion, just before it was 21st. Before that, I had long period of process to join this organization, because it's in Ukraine. This organization is like intelligence agency, military intelligence agency. Yes, if we have, for example, examples from movies, it's something about like CIA, but not CIA. It's like military CIA of Ukraine. It's just for people understanding what this is. So the process was really long, and I actually joined just before the large-scale invasion. And then my life a little bit, if I can say so, changed. Yes.
I remember myself, my emotions and my thoughts when I've heard President Zelensky called for foreigners to join and support Ukraine with the International Legion. When I was in Kiev after the first visit, after the full-scale invasion, and I remember there were rumors like that the idea came after basically President said it live on program, and then it's all started preparation and going, because it's resonated with many people around the world, and they rushed to Ukraine to protect and trying to be useful in that. Do you remember your thoughts, maybe your emotions when you heard about this idea? As a man, as a military person, you probably had different perspective on this idea with the International Legion.
Actually, when this idea raised, so I didn't think about it at all, because as I said, that I joined the organization before, and there was nothing about Legion that period of time. I was working with totally different branch, totally different people. Yes, and first days of large-scale invasion, I was focused on that job. And actually, I joined the Legion a couple months before, even after Kiev operation, even after it was, as far as it was spring of 22, but accidentally, because in many years before, I had some trips to abroad to get training, military training, yes, and to different tactical training. And I met some very good friends of mine, and they were gringos, Americans, shady Americans from very, very elite units, how we joke. And it was very interesting because my first month of large-scale invasion was quite, I would say, so strange. Because from one point of view, actually started something that you had prepared for during long years. So I trained a lot for a while during 5 years, 6 years. Yes, I prepared myself for this. I took different courses. I took different types of training. Yes, I was even had even possibility to provide some kind of basic training instructor job with weapons, with armors, with different, yes. So I met this war not like a rookie. So I had some experience. When this day started, and I met this day in city Dnipro, because my guys oriented me, my mates oriented me that the main focus of our activity, if everything will start, will be Donbas region. And nobody from my team and my guys, we were not completely sure, that show will start. And I met myself in Dnipro in standby mode. Actually, my rucksack was ready, like weapons was ready, everything was ready, packed, but there was no understanding that it will happen. And when like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, my mentor, like my, let's call it team leader, called me like, "Hey, Vlad, okay, they shell Kiev, and get your stuff and let's go." So I was like, okay. Then I had like, with all that training, with all that background, with all that possibility to prepare yourself, the stress was really huge. And then in a couple hours, we were waiting to like understand what we should do next, because it was mess. It was from our perspective, like, and I was just rookie operator. Of course, nobody told me what's going on, because I just like started to be in this circle. So, and then we understood that not only in the east happening, but also in the Kiev. And the main issue was that all my family lives in Kiev, and all my family lives, and my parents and all my family, they live in like we call it Zhytomyrska Trassa, Zhytomyr Highway, and northern part. It's like nearby Bucha. And the feeling was like, yes, I trained for this for a while. Yes, I was in some deep. I wanted to prove myself, like, like a young man, that I want to take part in something. But shit, it's not that what I wanted, It's like, and my first months. So then we had change in the plans, and I rolled back in Kiev because it was a little bit like organizational mess. So I rolled back in Kiev and to join like other teams, and then I just visited my parents' house, and I had a lot of stuff in my car. I even had my dog with me. I have Belgian Malinois, and I need something started to going on, like actually in this Gostomel direction, Bucha direction, everything like this. And I didn't have any information. And like usually, like first day is like it's a cortisol day, until you start getting some points to orient yourself what's actually going on. And it doesn't matter if you fully luxury trained or not. Everybody goes through this. And I drive to my parents' house just to drop the extra stuff that I don't need, because the main hypothesis was that I need to take only what I definitely need, not more, and only amount of stuff that I can carry for some case if I need to like exfil by step, like by foot. So I drive to my parents' house. I drop the stuff. I spend there maybe like 15 minutes. I drop my bag to my dog to my father. Like, here it is. I'll be back. Like, I'll just check what's going on. We'll meet the team. We'll understand what's going on. Yes, and then we will figure it out what to do. He said, like, okay, go. For me personally, it was also like very important moment, because when your father tells you like go, it was like in Patriot movie, like Mel Gibson tells his son like go, and it was funny. Yes, and so I actually drive to that Bucha direction from Kiev side and met some teams that I knew personally. It's not from ours, but I just met them to spend time with them until my guys will be back, and then to join them. And I spent like 4 days in that European direction. And actually, in one moment, so I couldn't leave this place, so because we had what to do there. And then once I had the feeling that some shit's going on in my parents' house. So we didn't have really good connection because nobody had that period of time. Then we realized that the circle closed. This enemy forces took this Zhytomyr direction highway, and my father with my dog, they got stuck in occupation that period of time. And thanks very much for the subconscious of me and my father. He kicked off the rest of the family to leave to the west, but he just got stuck, delayed his exfil for like 15 minutes, maybe 13 minutes, just to pack extra stuff. And but then like tunes, and like when my mother with my like rest of the family, they crossed the highway, so the enemy forces drive that maybe in 20 minutes. So it was just like subconscious decision, like let's stay. Then we like make a phone call. You should get the fuck out there. I'm sorry for my French. Yes, and he just sent them back, and they left like 15, 20 minutes. The circle was closed, and my father with his dog got stuck under occupation for months.
What part
What?
of Kiev region you were located, or what part you were defending with your team?
So I was in one of the teams of GR team, and I'm not sure that I'm like has possibility to describe in highly detail. So but the main idea that we were mobile team that created different activities, and not in some direction, but we were jumping, working, rollback, jumping, working, rollback, jumping, working, rollback, and that was like first months. And and during all these months, you had to do something. Yes, you had to figure it out what's going on in the unit. Yes, who is who,
Yeah.
who is what, where is the armory, where is like what is the mission, what's the procedures. But I didn't imagine these my first days like this. So it was like really, really intense. And really like controversial process, because yes, I had to spend all this super moment that you at last you joined the unit that you would want to, and at last you can spend your time and your life how you want to, but you have couple issues: your father under occupation, mother under occupation, the dog mother under occupation, and there is fucking war started, and you don't have time to train for this because it's just started.
Has your father survived occupation?
Huh?
Is he alive? You're dead. Has he
Yes,
survived? Yeah.
yes, yes, sure.
Is your dog okay?
My dog is perfect, yes. The most funny part, I'll tell you, the most funny part that I told you about my friends that I met during the training. Yes, these gringos, Americans, yes, all this.
Yeah.
So during these first months, they called me and told like, "Hey, Vlad, we're going to come and help you." And I was like, "Why? What?" So I had very lot of different contacts and friends abroad in Europe and States. And it was very interesting because first days everybody called and asked, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Okay, how can I help you?" Like, "Bro, come over here, let's do something." Okay, I know I have my wife doesn't allow me to come, or I'm too old, or like, but if you need something, we will do it. I'm like, "Thank you very much." It's like, "Thank you that you wasted my 5 times of my time for this useless phone call just to make you like sure that you did at least something." And when these guys called me like, "Hey, Vlad, we are going to do something. Like, what do you need?" It was maybe like 20th or 25th, like this type of phone call. So I was like, and I told them like, "I need like this and this and this, just technical like military stuff that it's no matter, no reason to explain what, because it's just specifics." And in a couple of weeks he calls, "We're coming and bringing." And I was like, "What? Like gringos do what they said? Come on." So and they showed up, and because these my friends showed up, raised the scenario why I supposed to join the Legion then, because I have had entire group of experienced, like trained, very high qualified friends, and we had knew each other for a couple of years, and we trained together. We had, and I had my entire team. And the funniest moment, if to combine these two stories about my father and these guys, that I met these guys in Kiev region, yes, put them to the safe house. And then I went and did this the same day. I made this operation myself because I didn't want to take them with me. They just showed up. They don't understand like what's going on. It doesn't work like this. And this is my family's terrain. I know like each path, like each pine tree. So I just said, "Guys, I will be back in couple hours. Just stay here." Then I jumped there and like drive in, just like fuck it tactic, like it will be what it will happen, what will happen, yes. And jumped, met my father. He was like, and my dog was like, so I put them to the truck, yes, and exfilled them. And imagine the condition of my father when he spent 1 month under occupation with this whole stress. He lost like 10 or 12 kilos of body weight because there was nothing fucking eat there in that village, and they had to really do a lot of job to find some food. And his freaked son shows up here with his whole NVG, with his body armor, with his whole like stuff, like in the 13 hours Benghazi movement, like. And I tried myself, "Bro, you're professional, no emotions, no emotions." Like, "Yes, hello, are you my father?" "Yes, like, I'm here, like Ukrainian armed forces." Like, I'm joking, but it was funny. And he was like, "Oh," and sit down here, like this. And I was nervous, like, but I tried at least to play in the eyes of my father, like I'm like a guy from the movie, like. please, calm down, everything okay, let's do. My dog, jump here. I know, jump here, so I took them, we rolled back, and he is like, and we go back to safe house, and then he understands that he's like, and then we go to safe house, and he met entire group of rangers and like Navy SEAL former like guys there, and he was like, and it was like in this American football. I was in my previous life master of sports in American football. We call it touchdown. Like it was like ding! Something like this. Yes, a little bit long, but
It's interesting, because I was listening the beginning of your story when before you approached Kiev region, and I was thinking, with whom you would feel more comfortable to go on a mission, on an assignment, with Ukrainian fighters or, for example, Americans. And now I understand that actually for you it doesn't matter because you've been trained and you know the guys from abroad, and obviously you did your work with Ukrainian fighters. Am I correct?
with whom would be comfortable to go to mission is with the people that you know and you spend a lot of time together and you train together. You're in one mindset and you have your own internal in the team like SOP, standard procedures. You have understanding. You don't need to talk a lot because you understand each other. And it was actually the most my like problem, but maybe this problem saved my life. That when I just showed up, yes, and it was actually beginning of large scale invasion. So actually, I joined the team of people that spent a lot of years together in this unit, yes, and I showed up like, hey guys, I will go with you, and I understand them now. Why do we need you? We need to like train together. We need this together. We don't know if you like know this or this or this, and it's explainable and understandable. So then, during first year of this full scale period, like 22, like 23, I was team leader of my own group. So I just joined and become team leader because I brought with me entire group of these guys from abroad. And then I spoke to my like leadership and explained them like I have this today, and they want to fight. Like we call it in Ukraine, like opachirik, a couple like Delta Ranger guys, and other guys, and there's a lot of stuff. And they offered me like, let's we like put you to the Legion with these people because it will be more understandable. Yes, and that's how I actually joined this unit, but it was a little bit later, not the Kiev operation. After Kiev operation, so the most comfortable is people that you trained with for a while and you know them. Yes, yeah, definitely. There is some basic stuff. There is some basic knowledge, basic skills, but people from that country understand this some more advanced stuff a little bit different because they have combat experience in different type of war, and some people from Britain they have different vision on some specific question, and you have to spend the time together and you have to have possibility and you have to be lucky if these people will be ready to adopt the mindset, yes, and to listen your position, and you have to be listen, not to be like testosterone guy that this works like this and no matter how. There are a lot of foreigners like this, and they have to also listen, and they have to here to help, but they have to also be here to study, listen, and to change. Because people, when they show up here from abroad, first they need to have to start their internal change, like spiritual change, and understand critically their previous experience, because a lot of from their experience can actually just kill them. So yes, so if you have your team and you can lead your team, and this team are from different countries and team are from professional guys that are ready to adopt and they are ready to be to provide self-criticism, or how to say, you're really lucky. And I had this situation and I was really, really lucky from this perspective.
How different the motivation between, for example, European, Northern American and South American? Is that because I understand they probably all driven by seek of adventure, challenge themselves, probably eager for adrenaline, but there are probably different things. If for someone getting paid, meaning a lot, for the other, it's not really substantial sum of money, which is the legionnaire having, and they come in for other reasons. So what's the difference with this motivation, taking the geography of the legionnaires?
We don't think like this. So I represent the, let's call it, officer corps, yes, of our unit. And we actually manage this unit. And we don't think like this. We don't, because it's unproductive to think like this. If when I meet somebody from some country, if I would make any conclusions about this guy just because he's from that country, I wouldn't be a professional. Actually, I have, even now, we have very lot of guys, yes, and to me personally, I am very well connected with a lot of them. And even now, for example, I know personally very good some dude from some squadron, from some team, and we had communication for a while. But if I start to remember where is he from, I maybe even don't remember. There are a couple guys that now I think it doesn't matter. The first is individual qualities, yes, at the level of adequacy, yes, the
Common sense.
common sense, yes. Country is not like in the first stage or what you study. We are looking for Americans, or we are looking for Britain, or we are looking for Zimbabwe. Yes, it's a joke. No, it doesn't work like this. We have very like cool guys, really cool soldiers, fighters from almost every country. And we had experience of communicated with awful people, with awful, not in the meaning that they are not efficient soldiers. They were awful people that tried to join the unit with different problems, with totally different intent, with some their personal stuff they wanted to do from all over the country. So we discuss that the most important who this guy is, not where is he from. It doesn't matter where he is from. It's not the first what you. It's not even the criteria of selection.
Mm-hmm.
It's criteria of selection, for example, for different specific countries like what we have there, because they're former their like northern, like our neighbor, like crazy former citizenship, they usually go to other unit, not ours. So we don't take them because it's other units. It's just organizational process. But for rest of the especially Western world, it doesn't matter where he from. And it even doesn't matter what he did in his previous background. If he was very perfect John Rambo in some very elite special unit, but important what he is doing now. But if he was super pooper experienced guy and he shows up here and creates problems, nobody cares about his experience before. It's important what he will do now and how he will do it. This is the main idea.
It's interesting you're saying, because being in Kiev in summer 2022, and with my colleagues, we went to some bar, and apparently they were handing out the foreigners who came to fight in Ukraine. And it's interesting because you clearly can see those guys, they had problems with alcohol, with drugs, and eventually we came to conclusions that they just like seek for violence. And then later, when I was sort of, looking at the International Legion and everything, and one of the, I think, officers of defense intelligence said that the defense intelligence is very harsh, has a selection process. It's very difficult to get there because it's, you know, you as an organization takes very serious whom you devoted the missions. Could you take me through a little bit more about selection process? What part does it have? How long does it take for those who possibly would like to join International Legion?
Okay, let's start from the very beginning. If the guy wants to join the unit, yes. So first of all, he has to contact us somehow. The question, how? The first is that we provide direct recruiting to the unit for foreigners. So the most easy way is contact us through the social media pages. Social media pages in like DIU Legion. You can find it in Twitter, in Telegram, and Instagram, in YouTube, in even in LinkedIn. But I'm not sure that we check that direct message there. I don't know why we did it, but let's keep it live. So the main thing that if our audience hears first time about the legions, like international legions in Ukraine, there are two international legions in Ukraine now. The first in the chain of command of our organization, like main directorate of intelligence of Ukraine. And the second one is like Army, Land Forces, TDU, like Territorial Defense Legion. It's different units. And if you hear International Legion, yes, and if you hear DIU Legion, it's not the same unit just because both are legions. It doesn't work like this. So it's different units in different places. So if you choose DIU Legion, like our Legion, the GUR, or GUR, we call it GUR, then you contact us through our social media pages, because we have a lot of times these confusions like, guys, I made my application but nobody like contact me, and where did you apply? And he drops the website of some different unit. I'm like, okay, so be sure that you write to us. Okay, if you really want to communicate with us, we really communicate with people through social media. We are very open. So, and the main recruiting process goes now through the social media. So when you link, they will explain you what to do. Yes, they will do like all the process that needed. I wouldn't like to describe it in the public media, because this process is still building. Nobody knew here in Ukraine how to provide this type of special elite unit combined with foreigners 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's quite new, and no officer here in this country had experience to do something. Yes, and if we compare it with very famous our colleagues from French Foreign Legion, or I don't know exactly how they name themselves in English, French Legion. I'm sorry, but how many decades did they have time during peaceful period of time to build it? Like long period of time. And we just started large scale. Let's do it. And of course, first months, first year, we had a lot of problems, organizational problems, because nobody knew how to do it. Nobody had this type of experience. Nobody had understanding how to work with different people from different countries, how to combine them together. And during these officers that did this job that period of time, they had to not only figure it out how to build it, but also to execute missions. So the main idea how you join is to, so I don't want to explain why it's working, because I try to explain that it's building all the time. So maybe in 2 months, in 3 months after this video, the system will be different. So just contact us and you will be explained what to do, and then everything will happen. Then when guy shows up in the border, so he's explained how, where, like during what period of time. Then he goes to the initial selection process. We don't describe in the media or anything anywhere else what is look like this initial selection process, because we don't want to give criteria, yes, and we don't want to explain why we pick this, why we pick that, because we want people to be themselves during this period. So they do this initial selection, and then the people who passed this initial selection, they go to the basic training course. And this course is a lot of weeks. It's more than months. It's just training before they enter the unit. And for the people who are very, very experienced during their background, it can be designated like adaptation course for them that can help them to refresh their basic skills and their basics knowledges, yes, to return to the basics, and to understand what from their background experience works and what doesn't work, and how to so it's adaptation to reality course. We can make a joke like this. So it helps to adopt to Ukrainian reality. Then after this, who passes this whole process, and guy can not even go to the end of this infantry and adaptation course, then he is assigned to one of the units. Then he waits until his unit rolls back to the recovery period from previous deployment. Then he joins this unit. Then he goes to the weeks and weeks and weeks of training with his unit, like pre-deployment operation training. And then only he goes to the fight. During these months of process that he has to pass from the moment when he crosses the border and to the moment when he actually goes to operation, it's like 4 or 6 months. During this period of time, everybody has possibility to understand where they are, what's going on, what is the culture, how tasty are hot dogs on the gas stations, and how to say "no dobranic" in Ukrainian.
Don't remind me about hot dogs. I miss them so much.
Yeah. So about training, if somebody wants to better understand how it really works, this November will be the movie that we helped to create. Our partners from the film company Babylon 13, it's Ukrainian documentary movie. The company, they created the documentary movie about our unit. It calls Summertime in Ukraine. It will be broadcasted in the Western country. It's in English, and it will be broadcasted in Ukraine. We hope since the beginning of November. So you will be able to see all the story of couple guys from the moment when they just they show up to the moment of their first mission, and everything will be they showed like it's in documentary movie. So please, it will give you much more better understanding, like emotional understanding, what's actually going on, how it looks like, yes, who these people are, and that they are not mercenaries, yes, this all freaked myths, that they have right motivation, their own motivation, yes, and they're here because they made this decision. Nobody keeps them here, yes, and doesn't allow to go. They can go. So this will be, I hope it will be a great movie. You'll enjoy it.
Do they have some social guarantees or social security when they join Legion? I mean, obviously, Ukrainian men can't leave the country. How about the foreigners who join? Can they have holidays? Can they go to see their families? So how is this side regulated?
First of all, they are official military personnel. They have all the rights, all the restrictions, all the possibilities as Ukrainian military personnel. So they are members of armed forces of Ukraine with everything else what guys in other branches of armed forces of Ukraine have. They have official military salary. They have all these possibilities that have if they injured, if they so the procedure is the same. Only one thing that different for the foreigners that they when they sign the contract, they sign the contract. It's written like 3 years contract, but they have possibility to like I don't know how to say it accurately, not abort or cancel the contract. So they have possibility to leave after 6 months of service. If we remember our previous conversation, they train like 5 months. And when everything will start, and then even if in a half of the year they will understand that it was not the best decision of their life, they will have possibility to cancel the contract and to leave. Yes, I wouldn't agree with you that Ukrainian men are not allowed to cross the border. For example, military personnel, when they go to vacation, he has possibility to go to vacation to see your family abroad.
It's different. I know many men whose families here, as a refugee, came to the UK. They come and visit them. Yeah, but it's different matter. I mean, the civilian and you know those who are not part of the armed forces and they don't have legal reasons, because there's a category of people who are allowed to live like with many kids or have some guardianship of the disabled, something like that.
I wouldn't like to give any assessments about this because we start touching some political, like social political questions.
Let's move on.
So,
yes. Last time when I was in Kiev, when we met, and there was interesting situation. I was approaching St. Michael's Cathedral, and from the far it felt like I saw was something was going on, and I thought maybe it's some awards ceremony, because a couple of times I was a witness when National Guards were having their medals or something. But when I got closer, there was actually there was ceremony for somebody was killed in combat, and it was and few people were filming with their phones. We waited. You couldn't cross to the gate to the entrance of the St. Michael's Cathedral, and apparently one of the officers who was there approached this group of people with phones, and he asked not to film it, and he asked it in English. And I realized there's probably was the fighter for International Legion, or there was definitely a foreigner, and because the ceremony itself wasn't in the premises of the cathedral, and everything looked differently if it was a funeral of the Ukrainian soldier. And then when the coffin and majority of those attendees of the ceremony left, there's a group of people stayed, and they were just on the way to my way to the entrance of the cathedral. I approached them and I expressed my gratitude for their service, for what they're doing, because they were clearly all in the uniform, and it felt like they came from the wherever they're fighting are, because you definitely see this uniform, which is not for the civilians. No, they don't walk in the streets. The people came from combat. So I expressed my endless gratitude for what they're doing. But also I noticed there were not just foreigners, there were some of them were Ukrainians. And I'm telling you to ask about how Ukrainian commanders, because we know foreigners, according to Ukrainian legislation, they can't become officers, and so the Ukrainian commanders have to manage foreigners, people with different cultural backgrounds, expectations, life experience, probably ages. How difficult or challenging or maybe beneficial for them, this experience?
So how beneficial is experience for Ukrainian leadership to work with foreigners?
Yeah, to have to be a commander of the foreigners. How challenging and how beneficial it's for them.
Okay, so first of all, that yes, according to the legislation now, the foreigners cannot be officers, but they first group of our foreigners just 1 week ago or some time ago from the hands of president of Ukraine, they got Ukrainian citizenship. And now I know that these guys, and as far as I know, one of these guys will be in your show soon. Yes. And now this guy will become Ukrainian. He will become officer, and he will gets back to us, to officers, and he will remember everything to us. It's a job. So yes, the majority, like the main leadership of the unit, official leadership of the unit, are Ukrainians, and we have entire group of foreigners, and some of these foreigners now are much more advanced, not advanced, but experienced, much more like wise and better understanding what's going on in the combat than a lot of Ukrainians. And we have like official chain of command, yes, but our officers that work with foreigners, they're all very, very, very open mindset. Yes, and we listen to these people. It's not like Red Army stuff. Yes, we're very flexible, and we have some foreigners that, according to the process, they are like surgeons. Yes, but actually they lead some very important job, and we trust them because it's about skills, experience, and reliability on each other, not about ranks and everything like this. Actually, in our unit, I don't know if it's correct to say in the open media. I will tell it like my personal point of view, if you don't mind. In our unit, for me, like a former team leader and now one of the officers of this unit, it doesn't matter the rank. We don't look to the rank. Yes, for me, it doesn't matter if you was the captain of Marine Corps or your lieutenant colonel of Ukrainian, or you like was general of Royal Paratroopers in Great Britain. Really, it doesn't matter. So what you do now, what you say, and what you execute, what you say now, what you can, your possibilities, your reliability, and maybe, he's former colonel, cool, who cares? Yes. And the same for Ukrainians. Our foreigners, they are really, really sharp from this perspective. Yes. And the main idea of this unit also that, not main, but the issue of this unit is these people, they can leave. They are volunteers. And a lot of them, they finalized the 6 months contract long years ago. Very long time ago. They can leave, but they don't leave. They stay. We have entire layer of, we call it like jokingly sergeant corps. The people that joined our unit in the very beginning of 2022, and they are still with us. And they went all through these missions that we had. They were like everywhere. A lot of injuries, like a lot of lost friends. So they have the experience. So, and these people, like they're about result-oriented people. And you can be like Ukrainian I don't know, like lieutenant colonel, yes. And if you will join our unit and you will start do something like not result oriented, but process oriented, just to explain everybody that you are the colonel or lieutenant colonel, these people will eat you.
How about women? Do you have women in the International
Yeah.
Legion? What role do they take in the fight for Ukraine's freedom?
Yeah, sure, we have. We have women on combat position, not a lot, but not too much. We have toxic medical group Snake. They are combat medics. They provide medical evacuation, and they have women in their team. And their team leader is very wise. He explains it just like I explain it. It doesn't matter. If you do the job, you'll be fine. You can be the best of the best of the best, like Gringo from Black Hawk Down movie, but if you don't do the job, just talk, you will not be fine in my team. So it's not about women, man. It's not about like Americans, Ukrainians, Brasileiro, like former Policia Federale from Mexico or something. It's about who you are. This is the most important in our unit. And the same for Ukrainians, for foreigners, and equally the same for the Ukrainians.
But is it helpful to have the experience, the previous war experience? We know that it's many times was said the war in Afghanistan and Iraq is so different from Ukrainian war. And you just mentioned that those who would like to become legionnaires, they have extensional training, even if they didn't have previous experience. But I'm interested in your personal opinion. Is the previous war experience useful?
It's a very complicated question because there is no answer like yes or no. There are different situations, different stories of different people. Yes, somebody could spend time in another war and get good training, good and come back without any problems. Yes, without any problems, and somebody not. So we cannot say if the guy has combat experience, if guy has military experience with combat experience, he has training, especially basic infantry training. We don't discuss some very high ops special, like very Call of Duty, some training with most elite units of the world. No, we just basic infantry training like guys from Britain, from just infantry. There are a lot of them. They're friends of mine. They're perfect, and of course, it will be really awesome, really. But I also saw a lot of people with couple wars behind their shoulders, but they were completely inadequate to this reality. And it depends of it depends of who you are here and now, not before, and not what you promise to do in the future, but what you actually can do here and now. So it's also man, woman, like British, American, Ukrainian, or has experience, no has experience. Like, who cares? What can you do here and now? It's the main issue.
War, this war in Russian war in Ukraine and the service with International Legion created this unique opportunity for the creation of connections between different countries, different families, different people. And I think it will be for many years ahead for us because obviously we have those who would like to stay. For example, Anthony, who was on this podcast, and I remember he would like to stay in Ukraine and after the war. And is there other opportunities, and maybe you have examples of your friends, like those Americans you mentioned, maybe other countries who, after the victory, and when it's time for peaceful life, and they would like to have it in Ukraine and being part of the future of Ukrainian history.
Yes, I saw the show with Anthony. Actually, Anthony, some period of time was in my team, so he is a very good friend of mine, and I was his team leader. And we have, if I have the possibility to say hello to Anthony, like,
Oh, please do.
sorry for everything that, sorry for everything. But yeah, he's a really cool guy and really solid soldier with very.
But he's okay, right?
Yes, sure, he's okay. Yes, so it's just like one more joke from Vlad. Yeah. So yes, we have a lot of foreigners, very experienced foreigners, and usually it's the guys that from the first waves they are with us. It's like I tell, like our sergeant corps, our main core, our main basement, well, not basement, our main layer that keeps all the unit together. A very lot of them, they really want to stay here, and a lot of them really want Ukrainian citizenship. They really spend their time, and they really had very high motivation to learn the language, and they really learn it. And first they start to do first like steps in Ukrainian language, like ordering like одне americano. Then he starts to some more advanced stuff like Slava Ukraini, and they really have this motivation. From my perspective, it's my personal point of view. So I speak English, I speak Ukrainian. I understand that for Ukrainians to learn English is much more simple than to Western people to learn Ukrainian. And to understand that they really do it and they have success sometimes in this. And I know a couple of foreigners when I met them and they started to use these Ukrainian phrases, they didn't even have accent. So he speaks with this all our Ukrainian dirty words, dirty phrases, with this all like, and sometimes he speaks these phrases and he speaks like Ukrainian. And I got this idea like 2 years ago, and it's called like phenomenon that everybody discussed in movies that there is Italian Americans, they're like Latino Americans, and now I had tons of friends and they're like American Ukrainians, like British Ukrainians, like German Ukrainians. They designate themselves. They find some apartments here. They find their ladies here. Some of them even have children already born during this wartime period. And when they go from the rotation, they go to the family and they have house or apartments, yes, and all these family dramas inside, that have these operators when they don't need to fight, but they need to focus on their personal life. We always have some drama when we return home. It's a joke. And yes, their motivation is very solid. How I understand their motivation, why actually, what they find here in Ukraine, what makes them this decision that they want to come here. When a lot of people come out from here, they want to be here. The first phrase that I heard in 2022, when my guys showed up here, they were expecting that they will drive to something like between Africa and some Middle Africa, Equator Africa, with all these different gangs fighting with each other, and then for some favelas in Brazil. These guys actually told me, like, guys, Vlad, we will show up on the border. We will need rifles. And one of my friends, I met them just, it was on the western border. Yes, we had the war, but everybody who was in the western border, they understand that it doesn't look like a war there. Yes? So I showed up like, hey guys, hello, and they were like, And then I told them, there will be a checkpoint there. And they will be like, did you bring our AKs? Did you bring our AKs? I go, guys, relax. Like, yes, they had this experience in previous wars. And when they show up here, from my point of view, foreigner need at least 4 months of consistent stay here to understand where he is. And when they passed this 4 months period, when they understood that this is a little bit different than we expected, and that like this is cool, yes. One of my friends told that the phrase that Ukraine now looks like United States during his childhood, when he was a kid. And this reminds him, this atmosphere reminds him.
Is it 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Yes, but not, it looks like his memories, let's be accurate, because he is a guy. And I have a very good friend of mine, he's from US, and he's like much more older than me, and he former very high rank military guy. And when he shows up here, he always says one thing. He says that, Vlad, Ukraine looks exactly like Ohio. Just the same. The same woods, the same fields, the same, like even in the middle of Ukraine, there's agriculture, the same like cities, like, so like a terrain looks really similar for them. And they find this atmosphere here. I wouldn't like to put my nose very inside some discussing politician stuff, but feels like when they show up here, they find actually the same like terrain, yes, but with much less issues that they didn't like back home. So they feel more freedom, their personal.
Yeah.
It's if too shortly. It's one more question. Okay, we have more not official conversation today. It's cool. We had an operation in 2022 in Zaporizhia direction, and our safe house was in the village. And we showed up in this village. I had that period of time, I had 2 rangers with me from former 75 Battalion Ranger, US, solidly. And we were like waiting until something happens. If not to discuss what actually going on, but the main question was, so we had to have a dinner, and the dinner was provided by some Ukrainian babushkas, this lady. Yes, and they made for us just regular, like not borscht, but the regular food. If you spend time when we from Ukraine, from that countries, we were kids. There was like children camps, and we even had this special tea that everybody from 90s, everybody know the taste of the tea. So it was the same canteen with the same food that every here knows, because we ate it in the children camps in the childhood. And my guys are sitting, they get this, I don't remember what did we eat, but they brought us the plate with sausages. And I was like, okay, let's eat. So I'm eating. And I look to one of my guys, mates, and he takes like remember that kid from Matrix movie, there is no spoon, remember this? So he takes this fork with this sausage and looks at it like that kid, like, there is no sausage, And I'm like, bro, what's something wrong? Maybe you want some special like McDonald's hamburger, We don't have it in the Zaporizhia direction. Some problems. How can I help you? But he says, Vlad, do you know that in our country, I will not name the country, I just tell the story, and it's his personal point of view. Yes, it's just a story. In our where I'm from, you can find this type of sausage only in some extra expensive some store that is really hard to find. And I was like, what? Yes, and the second guy said yes, because we have. If you want to find some this type of beautiful food, like you have here, actually, everywhere in every like square, yes, you have to be like to work on it. I still don't believe in this. I think that they joke. I think that they just made joke to Vlad to make me feel like I'm. I don't really know if they really had this problem to find right sausage in some US or in Britain, yes, well, that we can find in every village in Ukraine. But what they really also like, it's the food. It's really funny, but yes.
Yeah, food in Ukraine is amazing. It's just something I remember when I come and I just don't know what to buy because I want everything. And it's the taste, the smell of fruits or vegetables. You can't find it anywhere in the world. It's so true. And it's difficult. I think when you as a foreigner come to Ukraine and then just Ukraine steals your heart and you have no chances to find your happy place elsewhere. Vlad, is there something the international community, a part of joining the International Legion, they can help and support the organization? For example, our viewers, those people who right now watching our chat.
You know, I wouldn't like to be in the role that we need some navics or we need something. Uh, First of all, please understand our unit. If you are foreigner viewers, please understand that our unit is a great point of contact in the country. Yes, and I'm not sure that it's really a nice idea to say that we need something now because this video will be still in YouTube in 1 month and it will be change of some like needs. It will be not relevant. If you have any ideas, any possibilities, any like ideas, any points of contacts that you can share, yes, any ideas, and you just want to check if it's relevant or not. A lot of people from abroad I still see and I still know because I have tons of friends, foreigners, teammates, and we have really a lot of connections abroad. I still find that really a lot of people really want to help and support, but they meet two problems. The first problems they don't know how to execute sometimes, and somebody doesn't know how to execute it technically. If they understand how to do it on their side of the ocean or on the border. But then our system for them, it's a little less understandable. The second problem that they meet is that sometimes they don't know whom to communicate with and whom to talk to here. Because at the end of the day, every war magnates different weird people. Foreigners, of course, we have some people that make some mistakes and they don't know what they're talking about, like Ukrainians. And a lot of people that wanted to connect, they just choose wrong points of contacts whom to communicate with. And then they were disappointed in everything else. Yes, and now they really want, but they don't know whom to speak to. So please, if you have any like ideas or any motivation and you don't know what to do, please reach back to us through our social media. The guys that do social media will redirect this personally to me. We will have possibility to communicate. And at least if you have some idea but you don't know, we will be able to explain you if it's relevant. A lot of people they say, yes, we want to help, you need this, you need this. But we here in Ukraine, we understand that no, it doesn't need it. or some other unit or some other children organization needed. And then at the end of the day, we'll redirect them to them. We will like point them. You should speak to these guys, but please don't speak to that guys. Or let's speak to that guys. At least we will be able to provide some kind of assistance. For us, it's important because we understand much more Ukrainian mindset and Western mindset, and the most weird stuff when this mindset start to communicate with each other. So we understand this process during these two and a half years, and we will be able to help to do these communicational bridges between people that you need to find in the country, yes, and just to help you to understand each other. Very often people speak English from different countries, but they completely don't understand each other.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's true. Is there something important we haven't mentioned and it needs to be said from behalf of International Legion?
How you call it in English? Like subscribe Jenny Klochkova YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Subscribe, yes, Jenny Klochkova, yes. Find our link of International Legion of Defense Intelligence Ukraine in the subscription of this video.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jenny.